Sorry, I do actually at the hotel. I can go back and pick it up. It's very close, yeah? Ready? The idea of this project kind of started from an experience that I had in Japan where I was in a lift, an elevator, and I think there was a conference going on, like a world conference, and a Japanese woman walked in and she was wearing a beautiful kimono, and an African gentleman walked in wearing a traditional African outfit, and an American guy came in with a suit, and there were a few other people. But what was interesting was when the doors shut, there was no music, first of all, so the silence became unbearable because nobody's talking to anybody. And so there are these walls that are built, which are invisible, but somehow we build walls to protect ourselves. And so we were going up this lift because it's a very tall building, and the lift stopped. It got trapped. We were stuck. And I thought, what happens now? And it was amazing because the Japanese girl was the first one who spoke. And she spoke in Japanese, and we were trying to communicate. But out of a crisis, communication started. And we were all trying to help each other, trying to first understand each other and trying to communicate to each other to see how we can get through this. The longer you wait, the more your imagination runs, so you start to think, okay, these are the last people you're going to see. So if somehow they were strangers, but because of the crisis, we became a family somehow. And so in a way, going through this experience, I wanted to create a scenario similar to that, to the sense of a crisis, and so people have to communicate from different cultures and different backgrounds who don't necessarily speak the same language. So the scene on stage of Bahok is very much of being in a kind of airport setup, if you like, and they're trapped because their flight is delayed. I'm fascinated by collaboration because for me it's an exchange. It's a thing of sharing. It's not that I give and I tell what people to do. It's really that they share with me, I share with them, and so an exchange happens. And I really like this idea of working with ballet dancers, very classical very strong classical dancers, but at the same time, the fact that the body is immersed within the culture of China, so it has this Chinese. It has the colors and the qualities of China, if you like, within that body. That's something I was fascinated by. So it's a collection of these people who come. I mean, and what we did was in the first week was, they were warming up in their all, in their separate corners in the studio, and the ballet dancers were here in that one corner, and the contemporary dancers were here, and the martial art the martial artist was there by himself, and I was like, what's going on already? There's walls that has been created in this space, and there are no walls in the middle of the space, and yet there's this kind of invisible wall. And I kind of said, okay, what are you doing? And they said, well, we're warming up. And I said, why are you warming up? And they said, because we're dancers. And I said, well, we're not going to be dancing. And they were quite nervous by what that meant. And so I said, let's talk for a week. amount of space inside, and we forget that sometimes. So sometimes we think it has to be, it has to go from the body, which is the center, or the beginning, to the outside. But actually, the body in between, inside, is a huge amount of world. There's a whole world.
I can't lose it. 我曾经爱你，但是我恨你。我曾经爱你，但是我恨你。我曾经爱你，但是我恨你。
What I do is put it together and to construct something that I feel says something on a more kind of arch or on a structural sense, and that's my story, how the structure is formed, but the actual ingredients was very much drawn from them in the first week, so we spoke a lot in the first week, and then so in a way we were talking about home, the sense of missing home, the sense of being a foreigner, the sense of trying to find origin, what is the origin, or where does, is there such a thing as an origin?